Just to introduce myself, my name is Jonathen Karavolias. John, I'm the head of sales for the Americas. I actually have an entire hemisphere, so look at that for ROEQ. And basically, that's my contact information. I basically support a lot of the ROEQ partner networks here in the Americas. I'll of course tell you, we're relatively new to the Omron world, so Mechatronics is one of our partners that we're developing here. Happy to be on the webinar. I'm happy for the invite and appreciate it. And I'm based here locally in Charleston, South Carolina, so right on the East Coast. And I'm basically a local resource. If there's any questions, comments, or like I said, we have our partners out there, but I support them on a day-to-day when it comes to projects and development of a lot of these this AMR technology and of course the MRE technology. So without further ado, I'll basically, jump into it. Of course, we're going to be showing, of course, our new ROEQ card solution today for the Omron LD250, and maybe I'll have a little surprise in here for everybody. Since you are all good enough to show up today, you'll get maybe a sneak peek at something. So starting off, I thought give you a quick introduction to ROEQ. Just so you know, what does ROEQ stand for, and it's pronounced ROEQ, robotic equipment. We're a Danish company, and the Danes love to have those shortened words for company names. We consider ourselves a leading manufacturer of MRE. That term you're going to hear a lot of. That's mobile robotic equipment. It's our term for end of arm tooling for AMRs. So you heard the word AMRs. So you're going to hear the word MRE. If you're in the military, you know what an MRE is. For the mobile equipment, this is the terminology for our end of arm tooling. We were founded in 2017, like I said, a Danish company, and this is our three founders who are still, the partners in the company today. Very involved in developing this. We came from the Mir, if everybody knows Ecosphere. We were developing products for Mir before, from the onset. And just the last year and a half, 2 years ago, we decided to move over to other AMR platforms. So we're bringing, our mission is really bringing to market some well-engineered, easy and consistent setup is really important, safety compliant, and standardized mobile robotic equipment. And that's been our focus from the beginning, since we were founded to where we are today. We are also a global company, probably not as impressive as Omron with their reach, but we do sell all over the world, Europe, North America, which is a very important market for us, and also in Asia Pacific. So we're selling to projects everywhere. We're supporting also globally, and that's a really important factor for us. So just to give you an idea of like our concept, for our MRE, offerings, we do not, we kind of focus on what's called a standardized solution compared to almost a customized, products that you see a lot in the marketplace. And that's really important to differentiate. I mean, if you're coming to us, you're not going to be saying, I need you to develop this, especially for this customer. He wants this and this and this. And I usually let them talk for a little bit. And then I say at the end of the sentence, that's not our model. What we basically supply are very standardized solutions that fit we consider about 80 to 90% of the applications that are out there, that AMRs do. And, whether it be, lifting applications or on pallets, it's cart applications, which are, the human AMR interface, or conveying applications. That's our bread and butter. And there's a lot of reasons why we do that. I've highlighted a couple of things in there. What's very important for us. Safety is a huge, concern and important for us because we're interacting with humans on warehouse floors. And that's our biggest priority. And of course, the AMRs are the same thing. They're making sure that they're running and interacting with humans, on a day-to-day basis, and our equipment has to fulfill those same obligations. We're looking at reliable and scalable solutions. Setting it up. It's not only the hardware you're seeing, but it's also going to be the software, which is important. And of course, consistency. Our products, because they're standardized, the setup, the software, it's consistent, and like I said, it's something that you can scale from factory to factory. People know the ROEQ solutions, and they can actually implement them in multiple places, and it's the same standard for each one of them. And it's of course also a time saver. Implementing these solutions, it shouldn't be a whole week of engineering time on there. It should be an operator with a good base of information can do it in half a day. And that's what our goal is. We have our partners that are trained on this. They can basically show an operator how to do it, and an operator can set up and commission our top module on the Omron in a very short period of time. And of course, cost efficient. So that's why our focus is on these standardized solutions compared to, like I said, the bespoke customized products. There's definitely a place for them out there in the marketplace. I see them all the time. It's just not our model. So, just so everybody's kind of aware of that. So as I said, also at being a standardized solution, we're also a solution provider. So you can see here, the Omron AMR that we're talking about, and also our top module, or topper as everybody likes to call it, the TMS C500. And a top module you'll see is the interface into whatever the logistical solution. And in this case, we're talking about a cart solution. Usually, we also supply that cart, and also, of course, rails for fitting a pallet on there. So this is the hardware you see on the solution that we're providing today. But it's not only, excuse me, the hardware that we're providing. It's basically, everything that's behind there that you're also buying with ROEQ. So, everybody goes, oh, I can build those carts, I can do a topper and everything like that. But what we're putting together is a package that makes it easier for you guys to set it up. And especially a big, point of that is the ROEQ Assist, which is our software, that we use for setup and commissioning the top module, the cart, with the LD250 in this case, or whatever platform that we work with, and we cover things like, safety, which it was mentioned before. Once you put a cargo on top of, the AMR, it changes the safety zones. It changes the speed requirements, and these are things that we basically do a lot of the front end work with our software to do that. It also changes the footprint. Once you put a cart on top of the AMR, it's no longer the same size. You have to expand it because it actually has to move around those objects. That's done for you. In the case of the macros, we also do a lot of that, the front end work. These are all things that are basically time savers. If you take the situation, if somebody says, I can do my own cart, I can do everything, well, you're going to have to do all these steps yourself. That's your time, that's your money, to do that. If you have the engineering resources to do, and my experience is usually less than not, everybody's under a time constraint. This solution that ROEQ's providing, takes care of a lot of those issues, and makes a pretty much a plug and play setup of the the top module and solution, the cart solution for any application. And like I said, a lot of this software, this is usually done for just a setup and commissioning. After that, you're using the Omron interface. So basically, it's just for that initial phase, and after that, once the solution is working, then you're working with the Omron interface. So I wanted to kind of start off also with applications. A little bit of a disadvantage. A lot of my applications that I have are, of course, on the Mir platform. We've been doing Mir for the last, like I said, since 2017. So we have a lot of experience, but of course, it's on a different platform. So me showing a lot of those platforms doesn't really bring you value. And I really can't do a lot of that, because I have to respect, that platform, and I have to separate, my relationship between Mir and, of course, with Omron, and which I have to do. But at the same time, we're starting off very new with Omron, so therefore I don't have a bevy of applications with the Omron platform. But like I said, happy to talk about it. But what I thought I'd do is give you guys, some of the key applications. And here, definitely, like manufacturing applications, which is a core market that we go after. We see things for AMRs like, removal of waste materials or recycling, that's one of an applications that I see quite often that happens out there in the field. People moving dumpsters and everything. We're seeing AMRs doing these kind of jobs a lot more. It's just because they can actually go in there and do that, and this is actually a pretty common application that comes in there using cards, putting waste paper on there and doing that. Another one that's very key is line side delivery, material transport and drop off of raw materials, whether it be from receiving to transport, or if we're in very complicated production areas, bringing things to the work cell. I see this in larger tier one or OEM, automotive or large manufacturers of large, agricultural products. They're bringing and supplying work, cells with the right, products at the right time. And a lot of times the AMRs are doing that heavy lifting instead of the people. And like I said, like a cart solution is an interesting solution because you've got a lot of human interaction. A person can push a cart, and that's really important when you're putting a cart solution. Is an AMR can pick it up, take it the distance, and then at that last last mile, as you can say, in the work cell, usually the operator will be pushing it into the right position. So that's something never disregard the operators part of this. AMRs are important, and they're taking a load of work, but also the operator is essential, and how they integrate is really important, and we always stress that. Bus routes also, AMRs traveling around, basically shuttling between work cells or on a dedicated route. I've seen this in a lot of factories where they'll have an AMR driving around at different stations and dropping off products or picking up. It's almost like a mail delivery system. So that's also a very important application that comes in there. And of course, pull calls, where it's more of a Kanban type system, delivered to storage when triggered. This is something also that is a possibility and can perform these tasks. And also work in progress. This is a little bit specific to conveyor applications. I know I'm showing a cart solution, but once you'll eventually see some conveyor solutions. Conveyors, if you think of the infrastructure that conveyors require, we're seeing a lot of trend towards more flexible utilization of AMRs with conveyors that are moving goods within there. So it's basically a virtual conveyor, and it's a lot more flexible. You can imagine you can have a limitless number of drop-off and pickup stations within a factory instead of running one big conveyor from one point to another. So that flexible manufacturing is really pushing that, moving away from fixed conveyor belts to AMRs with the conveyors that have flexibility to drop off and pick up within these facilities. The second kind of big, applications are warehouse applications, and that's in most manufacturing or pure fulfillment centers, 3PL, you name it. AMRs are going to be taking a lead on a lot of things. Biggest one, of course, is pallet moves, inbound and outbound. So you're seeing that. The thoughts of the forklift operators. The AMRs are moving into that brand. Not only, like I said, the lifter modules where you see it looks like an automated forklift, but also the AMRs that we're talking about today are used almost for sending in basically at pallet racks or stations where they're dropping off pallets of goods within these facilities and dropping them off and bringing them to different staging areas within the warehouse. And then one another thing that I've seen a lot, and also with cart solutions, is directed picking, where you're going to have somebody who's going through and picking, using humans again for picking and then loading it onto either an AMR directly or onto a cart, and then the AMR would take that and bring it to the end destination. So this is where you see a lot of interaction between humans and the AMRs for the specific task of directed picking. And then put away, where many stock items are produced, in the manufacturing, and they are basically taken into the the warehousing. So especially for longer distances where you're not utilizing humans for moving them, the AMR is picking up that slack and taking that distance, and their ability to work 24/7 and basically not tiring out puts them at an advantage in there. So those are kind of the key ones. And I'm going to show a video here just highlighting, and this is where the surprise comes in, because I'm not only showing the LD500, but I'm showing the new LD, the TMC 130, which is for the new the LD90. So that's going to be introduced next week at Automate. It's basically the smaller brother of there. So you can see there the TMC 130. Fits on the new LD90X platform, showing you just some of the advantages of the platform. We actually have some I/O kits, which I'll show in the product intro. And we have some, ability to use the side lasers. We have the kits that are available for add-ons. So here I showed you picking lines, which I showed there for warehousing. Here's using the cart system, picking up. As you can see, everything's free space, drop off and pick up. We're not using docking stations for this. And in this case, you're going to be supplying some work cells, and the ability to navigate in these narrow spaces is a real key advantage of the AMRs. And you can bring it in there right up to where the operator is working in this work cell, and make sure he's got enough components for that workflow. And of course, once the goods are finished, they can be picked up by another AMR and brought to wherever position that they need to be placed. And then or brought to supplying packaging lines, whatever that needs to be done there, or actually moving raw materials. This is of course the TMC 500, which is of course mounted on the bigger brother, has a lot of the components as the smaller brother does. The I/O kit, which is also you can add, whether it be a light tower on there or an outside speaker. This is to enable integration of some of the customer's requirements. Of course, the LD500 is used. You can transport higher weights and a lot more material flow. Or another application that I like a lot is also for palletizing lines. You can actually load up putting carts with pallets on there, and a palletizer can basically finish the palletizing here. And then you can basically take this pallet off ready for pickup, or to a stretch wrapper, especially if you have multiple SKUs on there. We have the basically the ability to actually transport US pallets on there for standardized sizes. We actually have the escort rails in order to do that. We actually show that we can actually dock pretty efficiently here, and then basically manual handling, interacting also with manual forklift operators. So these are, like I said, the new family of products. So we not only have one product to present to you today, but two products with this new introduction. Oops, sorry, stop that. I think the last part of the application, which is really key, is best practices, and implementing AMR solutions, especially with the MRE, mobile robotic equipment, is really important. And we have like a 7-step process of doing that. And I've listed like the key points, because it is a process implementing these applications. So basically scoping the application. Basically don't get to try to solve all the things. A lot of my customers right now, they start with a small application and they scale up from there. Then basically selecting what's the right AMR, what's the right MRE hardware and software for this application. Is it a lifter? Is it a cart? Is it a conveyor system? This is really important. The third step is, of course, integration. And like I said, having the Omron ROEQ, solution, it's a lot easier. Once you're doing things outside, it's a little harder, and integration, it becomes a task. That's why we always say, the plug and play capability of ROEQ with, Omron is really key. And from our previous AMR that we work with, it's the standard. Safety is, of course, key. Compliance, where you've got to look at those aspects, how people are integrating here. That should be your cardinal rule. When you're implementing, a lot of these solutions. Safety of operators, and safety of when these units are moving around the factory. They're there to reduce a lot of the issues that are going on there. And you want to make sure that this is as safe as possible. And of course, then testing and tweaking. Because like I said, your first idea probably won't be your end idea. You basically have to test this, and then deploy. And then after that, monitor the benefits, and maybe look at the application a little bit more. So that's our 7-step process, and those 7 steps that I just mentioned here for applications, we have an ebook to presentation. A lot of it is on the Mir platform, but I think there's some really good standards there. It can be downloaded from our website in our ebook section. I've got the link here, and I'm sure this will be shared. But it's a really good guide for doing things like this. And then just focusing on the product here, the TMC 500 cart solution. Like I said, it's a full solution with, of course, the top module, which is located right there, and of course the cart, which is mounted on top. Oops, excuse me. And this just shows you the front, side, back, and side views of there. We've done a lot of things like the HMI panel, which is integrated into the top module, which is very key for the Omron applications. So we wanted to make sure that with the emergency stop is on there. We also have attachment holes on here for IO kits, where you can actually put your light towers or blue spots. This can be actually purchased from us if the customer wants to integrate those additional extras and accessories within his application. So we also have a data sheet, which you can be downloaded from our website. Basically shows a lot of the key features, specifications, size basically of what the payload is. And of course, this one, the LT250, we can transport 500 kilograms on top of there, and we can do this with a couple of tricks that we actually are able to implement, in doing this. So basically, we're doubling the capacity of the LD250 with this, which is a huge factor. Especially, I do the same thing with my other platforms. You're always constrained by the AMR platform, but if you can actually take that beyond there, because we're not actually lifting, we're basically towing this. That is a huge difference, and value add that we can bring to this, and especially the maneuverability of the smaller AMRs. We also have some quick drawings in there showing you the specifications, and of course all the accessories and part numbers that can be ordered on this for each one of these, whether it be the cart, whether it be the rails or the IO kits. So I invite you to check out our website. You can get all that downloaded. Here just shows the application. I mean, very quick, ROEQ basically supplies the cart solution at the bottom. Everything else, shelving, that's whatever the customer wants to place on there. We make it as simple as possible. We have mounting holes where you can, add crates, shelving. We don't do this because, customers have so many applications, and we want to make it as open as possible. We always say we take care of the bottom part and the integration with the AMR with the top module. That's our bread and butter. Everything else on top of that, that's the customer. But we can give some guidance when it comes to like center of mass, where you can place the goods, and that's really key. That can be helpful when you're thinking about what you want to mount on top of there. And we've done before, give you some guidance, and that's something we're happy to do. But at the end of the day, it's your application, it's what you're moving, and we want to make it enable that. The only thing we do offer is, of course, the cart rails, which you can fit for Euro pallets, for US pallets. You can mount it front ways or sideways, depending however you want to, fits you. So it gives you a lot more flexibility. And that's a very popular option, especially for pallet transport. And this is how it looks. Some of the pictures, with the TMC3 500 on there, with the pallets mounted on there. Very typical application, and very key in regards to doing this. And I've seen, like I said, a lot of palletizing lines where they'll have carts already set up and positioned, so that they can actually, load these up, and then the AMR will come and bring it away. And I'll show you a quick video showing you some of the. So just shows the solution, the CART 500 solution. And like I said, it's a huge matter that we can increase that payload from 250 to 500. You can see here an operator loading one of the pallets on there. And like I said, all these systems are free space pickup and drop off, which gives a lot of flexibility, for, warehouse operators. And it's actually what I'm selling a lot of today. It's mostly free space drop off and pickup, and not. I initially started with docking solutions, but they're not as popular as most people can see. And the ability to dock and drop off from both sides is also very important. Gives a lot of flexibility to how you want to position or drop off your goods. Tilt stability is very key if you have an unbalanced weight on there. That's why we've got the 6 wheels, and also a little bit of an extended footprint. And of course, we're always thinking about the operator, because it's always going to be somebody, the ability to push. Nice feature here is a manual release button. Sometimes you get an e-stop, you want to release the load. That's important. Access to the emergency stop is also key, so an operator can stop the entire AMR. As I showed you with the product, the pallet rack holder. But like I said, the bases can be customized for whatever you want to be placing on there. And last but not least, of course, the ROEQ Assist software, which is used pretty much for that setup and the configuration initially of the top module to the AMR. So kind of, some of the features and benefits, and kind of closing this out, the TMC 500 solution, we see as a complete solution. It really adds a lot to the LD250 by basically, increasing the capacity. You can also, at one point, is transporting, longer goods up to about 120 centimeters. We always constrain ourselves by the access of the emergency stop. And it's always an important factor for us, that to have access. But you can see by, we extended, that transport to do that. Pick up and drop off in free space with that flexibility that it entails. And also picking up the card from both ends, also adds that flexibility. And of course, the ROEQ Assist software for your setup and commissioning of your top module with the AMR. And last but not least, tested and proven. I mean, we've been doing these solutions for a long time. We've got a lot of applications and installs in the field, and ROEQ solutions are running out there right now, every day, all day long, and with a lot of success. So we're not a new player to the market showing this. With Omron, sure, Omron's the new platform, but like I said, this is tested technology. For this. And I always put this up for like Mechatronics. I mean, our partners, you're selling a standard solution. This is not a development project. There's no trial and error. There's very little risk in deploying this, and the deployment is really quick for these applications. And the support, it's pretty minimal. Of course, we can develop a lot more projects, and we're seeing a lot more satisfied end customers. I have customers right now. They start with one project, and they're buying project after project once they scale within their facility or in multiple facilities, and that's what this is intended for. And of course, we don't only sell the products; we back it up, with technical and sales support from ROEQ. Mechatronic, of course, is going to be, has been trained and is ready to go with the solutions, but we back them up with every application that we have in there to make sure that your implementation and is as successful as possible, because it behooves us and you and Mechatronics to make sure that we're doing this with everybody's goal to be successful in this. So our launch plan, like I said, I showed you a little bit of a sneak peek today. Next month at Automate, which we'll be showing that LD90X with the cart solution. So I invite you to come over and see that solution in at Automate. We've also got other products for the Omron platform. I can't share everything, but you could imagine if you look at the mirror, products that we have, we go for the full range, and that's our expectations, is to go for the full range, not just carts, but we're going to look at rollers, we're going to look at lifters, all standard, all proven quality solutions, and it's definitely going to be something we're really looking forward to really ramping up in the next year or two, where we're going to be launching out a full portfolio of solutions. So last words, configuration and setup. When you get an LD250 and a TMC 500 from us, what's in the box? You're going to get the top module. You're going to get all the required cables, the manual, which is printed. We offer both and all the manuals and the installation software, files and scanner configs and everything like that you need, and of course the ROEQ Assist software. So you can basically launch this out. You'll get all the tools once you order from us. So I always talk about installation the usual way, not using, ROEQ. You're doing a lot of things like creating the map, the hardware setup. Of course, you have to do all the installation and the configuration of the robot, adding cart goals, I/O, set speed limits, general robot settings, laser scanners, application setup. The non-ROEQ way is this whole point is you'd have to actually do this manually, which is a lot of work and a lot of coding that you're going to have to do. Looking at it more of the ROEQ way, of course we have all the similar steps, but basically all of these steps are using the ROEQ Assist software tool, which are already adjusted and adding entry points and creating macros. These are the things that we're trying to lighten your load with, and it's that value add. When you're setting up and commissioning, that we can get you faster up and going than if you had to do it all by yourself. And of course, these are some of the product requirements. The CAPS version that we require must be activated. The mobile planners that we require, and of course the flow core versions. In order to implement this, ROEQ top module. But we're always working with Omron on their latest, flow core versions that they're bringing out. So like I said, when they upgrade, we're upgrading. We know about what's going on. We're in constant contact with them. So like I said, we want to be one step ahead. So, and that's the end of my presentation. I would just want to leave you with, our famous, words, which is move it, roll it, lift it. And we're happy to be partnering with Omron and Mechatronics, and happy to be presenting today.